What's up, guys? I'm Russell from rossmeritech.com, and this is another tutorial in beginner PHP programming. Now, in this class, I'm going to talk about associative arrays. So let's get started. Now, in our last class, we learned how to use indexed arrays, right? Indexed arrays it's basically a variable that has many different values, and we use index numbers to refer to each value, right? But the only difference between associative arrays and index arrays, associative arrays, they don't use a number, index numbers. They use a text to identify the different values, a string to identify another string value. So I'll give you guys an example of that right now. We have to first start off by typing in an array name. I'm going to call mine age, and we have to make it equal to array. Then we have to use this open and close parentheses and end it with a semicolon, right? In between this open and close parentheses, we're going to type in our values, right? Again, we're going to type in a string to be assigned to another string, right? So I'm going to use names and ages, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a string name, and I'm going to call this John, right? Since it's a string, we have to start off by typing in the single quotes, right? Type in our name, which is John, end it with a single quote. Now we want to use the equal symbol, then the greater than symbol. Now we got to give it a value, a string value. So John will be assigned to a string value. So in this case, since our variable or our array name is age, let's give it a age value. Let's make John have a value of 45, an age value of 45. So we have to use, again, the single quotes again, because it's a string. Type in 45, end it with a single quote. So let me start from the top again. We started off by declaring an array, right? Our array name is age, and we made it equal to array, open and close parentheses, ended with a semicolon. Now it has a string value of 45, but we're using the string John to connect to the string value 45, right? So when we evoke this value, we have to invoke the string John to be able to get the value of 45, the string value of 45. So let's add some more values. To add some more values, you have to type in commas, right? Now let's add another name. We have to use first the single quote because it's a string, and let's type in, let's say, Peter. End it with a single quote, and use the equal symbol, then the greater than symbol, and now we're going to give this string Peter a value to be assigned to, and another string value. Again, we have to use the single quote, right? And let's give him a string age again. Now let's make Peter, let's say 25, right? So we type in 25 and end it with another single quote. Now we're going to add another value. So this is going to be our last value add. Since we're adding another value, we have to again use the comma. Now let's give it another value, a string to be attached to. So let's give it a name. Let's call this one, let's say, Kathy. So again, since it's a string, we have to use the single quote. We're going to type in Kathy, end it with a single quote again. Give we have to use the equal symbol again and the greater than symbol. Now we're going to give this string a value, another string value to be attached to. And let's give her an age. Let's make Kathy, let's say 20. We have to use a single quote again, type in 20, and end it with a single quote again. So now let's start from the top again. We declared our array, and we gave it a name, which we called age, and we made it equal to array. We use open and close parentheses, and we ended it with a semicolon. Now we have strings that are attached to other strings instead of index numbers. So our first string is John, and it's attached to the string 45. Our second string is Peter, and it's attached to the string 25. And our third one is Kathy, and it's attached to our string 20. Now let me show you guys how to be able to invoke these different values in this array. To do that, let's use the echo. And then we have to type in our array name, which is age, right? Then we use this open and close brackets and end it with a semicolon. Now in between this open and close bracket, we have to specify our string text. And we have to type in our string John to be able to print out string 45. So let's type in the single quote here. Type in our string John, end it with a single quote here. Now when we hit save and I open up the browser, it's going to print out the string 45 because this string is used and assigned to this string value here. Again, instead of using the index numbers, we're using text numbers to assign to text values. So let's hit save. I'm going to open up the browser and let's hit refresh, and it printed out 45. Let's see if it's correct. All right. Yeah, John is assigned to the string value 45, so that's correct. So let's type in Peter this time. But again, since it's a string value that we're using to attach to another string value, you have to make sure you use the single quotes or whatever. If you use double quotes or single quotes, you must use them. So let's type in Peter in between these two single quotes this time. And I used a capital P, so capital P is a different character from a lowercase p, so you got to remember that. So let's hit save. Let me open up the browser. Let's hit refresh, and it printed out 25. Is Peter 25? Yes, he is. Now let's type in Kathy, and it's a capital K instead of a lowercase k. So I'm going to delete this here. I'm going to use a capital K, A-T-H-Y, hit save, open up the browser, hit refresh, and Kathy is 20. That's correct. So again, the only difference between an indexed array and associative array is that instead of using index numbers, we use index strings to attach to another string. Alright, so there's another way we can write this. So let's delete this here. Start by typing our array name, which was age, right? And we use open and close brackets. Then in between this open and close brackets, we give it a string value that we want to attach to, whichever string value. Let's use Peter again. And end it with a single quote again. Now at the end of this open and close brackets, we're going to type in the equal symbol here. Then we're going to use double quotes, right? And in between two double quotes and ending with a semicolon, in between these two double quotes, we got to give it our string value that we want to assign to Peter. So again, let's type in 35, all right? And how do we echo this out? Again, all we have to do is type in echo, right? Then our variable name, age, then open and close brackets, open and close brackets, end it with a semicolon. And in between this open and close bracket, we're going to type in our text. Again, this is Peter. So we're going to use a single quote, capital P, E-T-E-R, and then with a single quote. And now, what it's going to do, it's going to print 35. So let's hit save. Let's open up the browser. Let's hit refresh. And it printed out 35. Really simple. All right, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial. If you guys like this video, please give me a like. If you want more videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'm Rasim from RossMoreTech.com, and thanks for watching.